I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. It's 5:30 on November 8th. This is a full board meeting of the Livingston County Board of Commissioners. I'd like to start out in asking you to join me in a moment of a silent reflection, if you would. Thank you. Now, if you would rise and join with me in reciting our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Nakagiri,
Here.
Commissioner Griffith,
Here.
Commissioner Smith,
Here.
Commissioner Reiner,
Participating from Deerfield Township for medical reasons.
Commissioner Helserman,
Present.
Commissioner Dreck,
Here, participating from City of Howell, medical surgery.
Commissioner Zajac,
Here.
Commissioner Gross,
Here.
and Commissioner Plank.
Here.
Quorum is present.
Thank you. Item number 5 is correspondence. This evening, we have 4 pieces of correspondence. We have 2 resolutions from Alger County. We have 1 resolution from Branch County, and we have 1 resolution from Muskegon County. I'm looking for a motion to receive and place on file.
So move Zajac.
Support Gross.
Motion by Commissioner Zajac, support by Commissioner Gross. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 6 on the agenda is our first call to the public. Anybody wishing to address the Board of Commissioners? You'll have 3 minutes. All we ask is you provide your name and your township, and you'll have 3 minutes to address the board. Is there anybody in the room here that wishes to address the Board of Commissioners? Go ahead and step up and
Hello, my name is Yvonne Black. I live in Marion Township. During the October 12th Board of Commissioners meeting, Commissioner Zajac had stated he and Commissioner Plank had attended a meeting. And from the minutes of that board meeting, the people in this meeting were local school superintendents, the superintendent from Lisa, County Administrator Nathan Bird, and the Health Department Director Diane McCormick, and some of the other elected people in Livingston County that they're not on the list, but they were there. So Commissioner Zajac had announced the 6-foot to 3-foot policy change for quarantine of close contact, healthy children attending Livingston County schools. And Commissioner Plank had supported this, sharing this will hopefully reduce quarantine numbers. And what I see here is a new system of government that's creating policy. The Lisa superintendent, Mike Herbert, collaborates with Diane McCormick, a policy change. Then he reports this policy change to the people that are in this meeting, which includes elected officials, as our county commissioners came back and reported they had been to this meeting. So this group is closed to the public. I tried several times to find out when, where, and why I'm not allowed to come in, but it's a closed to the public policy-making group of people. And the policy, the 6-foot to 3-foot, that's not even voted on by the Public School Board of Education. It's just a policy change that's implemented by the superintendents. And so this unelected, unaccountable system of government goes against the Michigan law and our Constitution and is bad policy for Livingston County. So I'm going to continue to pursue these secret closed groups because Howell Public Schools has a committee that's been meeting for a year and a half, closed to the public, So I'm going to continue to pursue why we are having meetings in Livingston County, making policy that are close to the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the room wishing to address the board this evening? If anybody else in the room is wishing to address the board, if you could come up or queue up and then fill out the form, and we'll save a little bit of time. Thank you. Mr. Weeks. Right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got them wrong.
There's lots of fat white people. I'm not Mr. Weeks, though. Thank you. James Lewis. So, commissioners, we meet again. I want to discuss with you today, and this is something for more of the people behind me as much as you guys, your role and responsibility, and the oath you've taken, the position you sit. The last time I was here, we talked about the bond act that you're all bonded under. And for the people that are new here, I'll bring up 18 U.S.C. Section 242, deprivation of the color of law, to remind you that your job here, that you've sworn an oath to take, is to honor the Constitution, all of it. Not the parts you like, not the parts you get paid to ignore, not the parts you don't get paid to ignore, all of it. For we the people, not just you, not just anybody else that whimsicals and whispers in your ear or wears a mask or doesn't wear a mask. We the people. It's an inclusive statement. We have a few founding documents in this country that matter, and one of them is the Declaration of Independence. And it starts with, we the people, for a reason. Is considered supreme law in this land, supreme law. So I take some time, because some of you are lawyers here, you should learn about supreme law. You're violating it. Understand there's a group of us here that will no longer tolerate this in this county. So I'll remind you then also of 42 USC, section 1983, which tells me I have the ability to enforce all law as we the people, all upon you. That will get you back to 18, deprivation of color of law, which brings you to civil suits at $75,000 per person per offense, a violation of contracts that you've entered upon by holding your seats here. This isn't a threat, because I come in peace and I come in honor amongst you. To honor the oath that you've taken. There are many people here that are ignorant of the law. Many. Otherwise, this room would never be empty. I am not. Nor are there many here that are learning daily what the law is that you've taken an oath to. So I ask of each of you as you sit here today, regardless of your political ambitions, regardless of the reasons you took the seat, you took an oath to honor the Constitution in its entirety for we the people. So I'm not here to pontificate, although it may sound like I am, or grandstanding. This is considered to be, as they say, put on notice that we're going to start holding you to the law. I know there's sheriffs in this town that don't enforce it, but we do not need them. There are U.S. Marshals that will help us enforce all the laws. I'm in contact with more than 4. So
You have 15 seconds.
I'm going to ask of you, please honor the position you've given with the trust of this county by all the people that are here. They ask you to honor the Constitution and protect them. So please do such. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Both of these working? Thank you. My name is Linda Bullard and I live in Brighton Township. Today I'm speaking about Resolution 2021-11-180. Authorizing the Health Department to use a church for the vaccination shot clinics. First, I'd like to thank the commissioners who voted no on the original resolution back in September. According to the minutes, those are Commissioner Nakagiri, Commissioner Zajac, and Commissioner Drick. You tried to do the right thing. Now, here we are today, and the smoke and mirrors are continuing. When Nathan Bird submitted the resolution that you're going to vote on today, everyone could see it is an unethical change to the original resolution. Some don't want to admit it, yet the facts don't lie. What are the facts from the original resolution? Fact number one, the words specify the clinics are authorized in health department offices. The key word is offices. Last week, Commissioner Smith tried to tell me, no, that's not what we meant. We didn't mean only in health department offices. We meant anywhere they want. Seriously? If that's what you meant, why didn't you put those words in the original resolution? Why didn't you write anywhere you want? Do you know what I found in the minutes of that meeting? Nothing. Nothing that says anywhere the health department wants. Those words were not even mentioned in the discussion. So what will you have us believe today when you discuss it? Do we believe the written minutes from September? Do we believe what you're going to tell us today? Will you be consistent? Or will you talk out both sides of your mouth today? Fact number two, some of you keep trying to tell us we are listening to you. You, the commissioners, are listening to us. I'm challenging that statement right here and right now, because if you were listening, you'd already know the original resolution was not what we wanted. You'd know it's not just about the schools and the vaccination clinics. Last week, Commissioner Helserman said in wonder, I wonder if the clinics were held at a building across the street, if it would matter. He was talking about across the street from the health department offices. Yes, it would matter. This is not about a building. It's about putting the health department back in line. It's about stopping their abuses. It's about watching them like a hawk. It's about keeping them under control.
You have 15 seconds.
We already told you about the abuses in the past. Are you listening? We expect each of you to be an ethical commissioner. Please keep the health department in their lane. Your vote today matters to your reputations. Please listen. Thank you.
Anybody else in the room? Seeing none, we'll go to Zoom, and looks like first up will be Janine Iyer. If you state your full name and township, you'll have 3 minutes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Good evening, Commissioners. I am asking you today to oppose the resolution authorizing the continued use of the Chilson Hills Baptist Church for vaccine clinics. Holding vaccination clinics at Chilson Hills Church violates the Board of Commissioners policy established in the resolution, which funded the Livingston County Health Department with ARPA funds. I don't think exceptions should be made. These shots are for emergency use only, and there is no emergency in Livingston County. According to government data listed on openVAERS.com, the COVID shots have caused over 18,000 deaths and have disabled over 28,000 people, according to reports through October 29th, 2021. This is government data. VAERS, which is an acronym for Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, is a voluntary reporting system that has been estimated to account for only 1% of all vaccine injuries. That means that the number of deaths actually caused by the COVID shots really have exceeded 180,000 and over 280,000 permanently disabled. Since the CDC has redefined a vaccine death to those occurring at least 14 days after injection, I believe these numbers to be even greater. Other adverse reactions include, according to the website, over 10,700 Bell's palsy, 32,800 severe allergic reactions, over 20,000 other life-threatening reactions, 8,878 heart attacks, 11,450 myocarditis or pericarditis, which younger people are particularly susceptible to, and 2,786 miscarriages. Last month, medicaltrends.org reported that on October 7th in Taiwan, death from COVID-19 vaccination exceeded death from COVID-19. I'm concerned that if COVID shots are continued to be promoted, this trend will continue in other places, including Livingston. Why spread this carnage across our county by approving Chilson Hills Baptist Church for large vaccination events? I would again urge the board to oppose the resolution. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Next up will be Sherry LaRue. If you state your full name and township, you'll have 3 minutes.
Hi, Sherry LaRue, Green Oak Township. From my home office today. I want to refer to the resolution dated September 27th, where ARPA funds were decided to be used for the health department. I think I was the only person in the room that wasn't an employee or an elected official of the county when this went down. When two resolutions were presented and there was all kinds of friendly amendments and bantering back and forth, to my amazement. And no, the folks are reading the minutes of that meeting and those minutes are not complete. They don't paint a complete picture of the circus that ensued. Again, my perception though. But I want to bring your attention to after the whereas, that there it be resolved, the use of the ARPA funds for mitigation specific to our county. Number one, expanding access to monoclonal antibody treatments and other therapies. This hasn't been done. Number two, conducting vaccinations at the Livingston County Health Department offices. And here we are looking at an exception to this rule. Administering vaccines, number three, to the homebound. I presume that's being done. I don't have any way to look that up. Number four, coordinating, ordering, and distributing vaccines to healthcare providers in Livingston County. If this was being done, the health department wouldn't feel like they're the only ones that can administer a vaccine, because there are a lot of places that can. And number five, provide education and resources for alternatives to the vaccine. HCQ, ivermectin, zinc, C, elderberry. How about bypassing the processed fast food and eat real food? That's not being done. What's happening here is that this is all pandering to your constituents that live in fear. And the rest of us sit in hard chairs with our gel seats in that room usually, telling you that no, that's not what we need, that we need antibody treatments and therapeutics, that we need access to HCQ, ivermectin, and various other treatments, because this virus has a greater than 99% chance of survival. Okay. And as Joshua said to the Israelites,
You have 15 seconds.
but as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Thank you for your time and for listening.
Thank you. Next up will be Jennifer. Jennifer, if you would state your full name and township, you'll have 3 minutes.
Hi, good evening, commissioners. My name is Jennifer Cross. I live in Howell Township. So I just want to let you know that I did try to make an appointment for myself to get a booster, and also for my son, who's 5, to get an appointment through the Livingston County Health Department. There are no available appointments until after Thanksgiving. That's really concerning to me that we are in a situation a week into this and I can't get a vaccine appointment anywhere in the county. And that includes Kroger and Meijer and Walmart and all of those places. So the need is there. Please don't allow other residents to block people in this county from getting a vaccine. Mr. Byrd was very clear last week when he told us all what the needs of the health department are and what the needs of the county and the constituents are. Please do not allow 50 to 100 people, myself included, in my own opinion, to sway your opinions of what the constituents in this county really actually need and want. It's a lot more than just 50 to 100 of us. And I do believe that you guys understand that. And just like, you know, some of you spoke last week, I do believe that you're going to do the right thing for all these people that don't have a voice in this, in these meetings. And I do want to say that today, our positivity rate in Livingston County is 13.2%. That is leaps and bounds away from last year when we needed to keep our positivity rate under 7%. The amount of children in these schools that have in-school transmission is just, it's getting out of control. Where is the limit to this? There's got to be a limit. There's got to be a ceiling here. These are kids. They're getting really sick. I'm sure you guys are hearing this. There's been kids from Brighton in the ICU. Those could be your guys' grandkids. They could be your neighbors' children. Please do the right thing. Thank you, commissioners. Have a good night.
Thank you. Next up will be Elisa. Elisa, if you provide or state your full name and township, you'll have 3 minutes.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Good evening, commissioners. My name is Elisa Davis. I live in the city of Brighton. And there's so much, right? So just over a year ago, Michigan Supreme Court tied Governor Whitler's hands in saying you can no longer issue your executive orders without legislative approval. Her public comment was, that's fine, I'll just use my other resources. Well, in walks the health department, who are now the governor's patsies. This all began with the ARPA money of $1.5 million. That got voted down. But that somehow we've got to still pay the health department millions of dollars. So you decide, okay, we're going to give you $2 million instead of 1.5. We're going to give you $2 million. But that's still not good enough. Now they've got to open the barn door and start having clinics, outside clinics. And I can tell you, I have asked around. I do know people that are getting the boosters that want it, and they are not experiencing any difficulties. I don't want it, so I can't speak to it directly. Anyway, I digress. So what happens with this health department throughout the state? They are doing the governor's bidding, and go look at Genesee County, because now they have 13 vaccine clinics scheduled for the month of November, of which 6 are at schools. So I know you're saying, oh, we won't let them go into the schools. That's what Genesee County said too. So you have a moral and ethical responsibility as well. Clearly, the health department can't find their moral compass. So I'm asking you, please do not enable the bureaucratic bullying. Please stand with the majority of your constituents and the Constitution that the health department is trying to turn upside down. I thank you all for your time. I thank you for everything that you do. And please keep the health department where they should be, in their offices, nowhere else. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up will be Beth Leadford. Beth, if you state your full name and your city or township, you'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Beth Leadford from Hamburg Township. I'm asking that you continue to support vaccine clinics, both on and off-site within the Livingston County community. I think everyone wants to get to a place of normalcy, and the biggest mitigation strategy we have is vaccines. I also am a frustrated parent tonight. Right now, I'm at home with 3 kids under the age of 12 who've tested positive for COVID the past 3 days. We are a family that has not gone anywhere, and they have gotten this from the schools. The influence that you have put on the schools and their lack of mitigation is neglectful. My 10-year-old is devastated because she says to me, you know, I followed the rules and I still got sick. She wears her mask every day. She washes her hands. She does all the things. This county has created an environment where school is not safe. And when she asks me why, my answer to her is leaders of this community decided it was easier to answer to the loudest group in the room and ignore science. Community leaders who had the power like you to protect kids and vulnerable citizens have decided to not do that. They could have had a mask mandate for kids under 12 who aren't eligible for a vaccine until recently. You could have taken the funding to help support your public health department who needs it. And we could listen to scientists and epidemiologists and doctors and not YouTube and stop spreading lies that in the end just gets people sick. Please, please do the right thing. Continue to support the residents who want to get a vaccine. Provide them with the sites where they can take their kids when they want it. You don't want a vaccine, don't get it. But please do not hold back others who are trying to do what they want to do to protect them and their family. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up will be Cindy Michniewicz. Cindy, if you state your full name and your city or township, you'll have 3 minutes.
Hi, yes, I'm Cindy Michniewicz from Hamburg Township. That last caller is hard to follow. I just want to thank in advance the votes from the commissioners that will be proceeding with the expansion outside of the health department. There is a lack of accessibility to the parents that choose to have this for their children. It's not going to be forced on anyone. It's just going to allow easier access to the vaccine. And I just thank you in advance for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Jeanna McSweeney. If you state your full name and city or township, you'll have 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Jeanna McSweeney. I live in the city of Brighton. I'm actually out. I wanted to be there tonight, had to run errands, so I thought I'd stop in. I had to go to Meijer. They have 8 appointments available on the 17th at the Brighton Meijer if you want to get your booster shot. So I'm sure I could drive around town and find many more places. I guess I'm one of those residents that are getting sick and tired of being told that we don't care about people, and we don't, I have friends whose kids have had to stay home that have been healthy. And I'm a person, I think, that's pretty level-headed, and I like to use logic, and to use logic in this is ridiculous. Like this whole thing that's going on, like, why are we setting up clinics when you can go places? Why are we telling people that everyone's sick? Look around, who's sick? I mean, yes, people are getting sick. Who's dying? Are any kids dying? Are there kids in the ICU? I don't know. I have heard that 0 children have died in Livingston County. Well, I've not just heard, I've seen this statistics. So I guess I've been sitting listening to all these for, months now, all these people talking. And I just think if we sit back and use logic, it's just common sense. We're okay, people. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll close the call to public on Zoom, and we actually had closed calls to public here in the room. I'll allow you to speak, but you'll be the last person in this first call to public.
Thank you, Chairman. Commissioners, I come here today.
Could you give us your name?
Sure, yes. Ann Patterson, Genoa Township. Come here today to speak to you again regarding your oaths of offices. Also have Jeanna McSweeney sworn oath of office regarding the Constitution. So just keep that in mind when you're making these decisions. Some things that I want to inform you is that the health department has now stopped, and the schools have stopped calling it quarantine many times. They're now trying to use a different code since they realized that they could not quarantine without a court order. Now they are calling it in-person exclusion and appropriate isolation using a different code. This is just continued manipulation, and we, the people, are not going to stand for it. Do you think that a child or a teenager really cares if you or the schools call it quarantine or in-person exclusion. Do you think that that's going to help their mental health? It will not. Let's be honest with each other about that. Secondly, what I want to talk to you about are a couple things. I will send them to you via email so that you have the links. I'm very concerned about you bringing this or allowing this into the schools and or our churches, which are supposed to be a safe place for our children. In 2013, there was a Supreme Court case, and the justices did issue an opinion on that regarding transhumans are not considered natural, and so no natural and unalienable rights. They're not considered humans. They have no human rights. They have no civil rights. And this was all in this Supreme Court document here. This is in regards to an mRNA, which we know is in this gene therapy. It's not technically a vaccine, but that's what they're calling it. You need to tread really lightly on your decisions and what you're doing with our children and our elderly and what are supposed to be very safe places for them and all of us. Also, Congress put forth an amendment to the Constitution regarding this as well, that rights are for persons of rights of natural persons only. This is really, really concerning. And I urge all of you to review it very carefully before you send this out into the public. People have the option.
You
It
have
is
15
available if
seconds.
they choose. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead and close the call to the public and move on with our agenda, which next item is item number 7. It's approval of minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes, one dated October 25th, 2021. The other set is dated November 3rd, 2021. I would looking for a motion to approve both sets of minutes.
I'll move Helserman.
Support Griffith.
Motion by Commissioner Helserman, support by Commissioner Griffith. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of approving both sets of minutes signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? The minutes are approved. Item number 8, there are no tabled items from previous meetings, so we'll move on to item number 9, which is approval of tonight's agenda. I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion to approve Griffith.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Griffith, support by Commissioner Smith. Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 10 is reports. It's opportunity for commissioners to share reports. Are there any reports from commissioners this evening? Hearing.
I receive a legal alert from a Christian law association, and they have a proclamation for Thanksgiving that was given in the first Continental Congress in 1777. I just like to take a moment to read it, just for our edification, and remembering what the mindset of our country was when we started. And I don't know if I'll read the whole thing, but at least I'll give you the flavor of it. This was written, penned by Samuel Adams, and was passed by the Continental Congress. For as much as it is indispensable duty of all men to adore and the superintending providence of Almighty God, to acknowledge with gratitude their obligations to Him for the benefits received, and to implore such further blessings as they stand in need of, and it having pleased Him in His abundant mercy, not only to continue to us the innumerable bounties of His common providence, but also to smile upon us in the prosecution of a just and necessary war for the defense and establishment of our unalienable rights and liberties, particularly in that he hath been pleased in so great a measure to prosper the means used for the support of our troops and to crown our arms with the most signal success. It is therefore recommended to the legislature or executive powers of these United States to set apart Thursday, the 18th of December, that's when it was then, for solemn thanksgiving and praise, that at one time with one voice, a good people may express the grateful feelings of their hearts and consecrate themselves to the service of their divine benefactor, and that together in their sincere acknowledgements and offerings, that they may join the penitent confession of their sins, whereby they have forfeited every favor, and their humble and earnest supplications that it may please God through the merits of Jesus Christ mercifully to forgive and to blot them out of remembrance. That's about 2/3 of it. I won't finish it, but you get the idea of the mindset of our founding fathers. And I think that it's quite evident that we as a people, and many of us, if not most of us as individuals, don't think of that quite often enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? I'll go ahead and close the reports and move on to item number 11, which is approval of consent agenda items. This evening, we have our consent agenda consists of resolutions 2021-11-171 through 2021-11-179. Looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Support. Gross.
Motion by Commissioner Plank, support by Commissioner Gross. Are there any questions, comments about the consent agenda? Hearing none, consent agenda approval requires a roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Plank. Yes. Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
Commissioner Reader.
Yes.
Commissioner Nakagiri.
Yes.
Commissioner Helserman.
Yes.
Commissioner Drick.
Yes.
Commissioner Zajac.
Yes.
Commissioner Griffith.
Yes.
And Commissioner Gross.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item number 12 is resolutions for consideration. This evening, we have one resolution for consideration. It's 2021-11-180. It's a resolution authorizing the continued use of Chilson Hills Baptist Church for vaccination clinics. Is there a motion?
So moved, Helserman.
Support, Smith.
Motion by Commissioner Helserman, support by Commissioner Smith. Administrator Nathan Byrd.
Thank you, Chairman and members of the board. I'm not going to go through what we talked about on Wednesday or last Monday again. I think you all understand the chronology of what's happened throughout the course of the year. What I do want to give you an update on, because there's been a lot of questions about, predicting the demand for boosters. And so I did want to update you on that. The numbers I'm going to share right now are as of 11 o'clock a.m. So it's possible that they've changed some, but as of 11 a.m., this was where we were at with our appointments. For Moderna boosters, all 507 appointments that have been made available from November 6th to November 19th are booked. That includes last Saturday, as well as the clinics coming up. And so the first availability for a Moderna booster would be 11/22. Again, as of 11 a.m., there were 29 appointments remaining for Moderna, but nothing between now and then. The vast majority of the boosters that we're doing through the health department are Moderna, because that's the vast majority of the vaccine that was utilized, especially early on, which are applicable to the people who are now eligible for boosters if they choose to receive them. We have a smaller number of Pfizer appointments available. They're all booked. The health department just announced a group of December appointments. It's very few. And so there are a few available as of 11 o'clock this morning for December 8th and 15th. But again, we're talking about a very small number of Pfizer appointments, 53 that the health department's made available in November. J&J is a different story. We had 40 appointments for Saturday, this last Saturday. All were booked, but there are still appointments for anybody seeking a Johnson & Johnson booster. That's the only one where demand seems to be less so than the others. And so we have 10 clinics that are now scheduled at the East Complex for booster vaccinations. Again, for those wanting to receive them, those 10 clinics, again, if it's Moderna or Pfizer, they're largely full the next few weeks. The health department is adding new appointments as often as they can. They're in the building, of course. And as we've shared previously, the purpose of this is to utilize a facility that we utilized 35 times in the spring and summer to allow us to vaccinate more people more quickly. Rather than having 9 or 10 clinics, we probably would have had these done in 3 or 4 clinics and would have had walk-in as opposed to appointments. But the layout of an office building isn't really conducive to walk-in appointments or walk-in service when the demand is high. It's great when demand is not high, but it doesn't work so well when demand is high. So that's what I wanted to share tonight. I do want to stress that if you've looked at the health department's website or press releases, they frequently advertise everywhere someone can get a booster. We are not trying to direct people to us, but there are people who want to get a booster through the health department, most likely because they got their original doses through the health department. So this Saturday's clinic went from about 8:30 to 2:30. Nearly 300 appointments were conducted for booster shots, again, of people requesting them. And those clinics will continue through November, although on weekdays, there'll be much fewer in number just because of the layout and the size that we have available there. So that's the reason why this request came forward. We sense the demand and we'd like to do those vaccinations in a bigger room. Try to answer any questions you have.
Questions from commissioners? Commissioner Helserman.
Yes, there was a question about the home vaccinations or boosters. Do you have any figures on that would help answer that question for?
I don't know how many they've done recently. I can get that for you. The resolution that was passed in September does allow homebound vaccinations.
Right.
And so per that resolution, homebound and vaccinations done in our office building, but I can get you a number of what they've done recently. I don't have that available at the moment.
Okay. And also, we're talking only about boosters at this point. Do you know if the health department has a demand for the first round of vaccines? Are they doing any of those in these clinics, or is that open? Or when they have, could you?
When you say first round, you mean?
Yes, for the
first and second
round,
dose.
yeah.
Looking at the clinic schedule, the ones I'm referencing are all booster appointments. I'm sure they can make appointments for first and second doses, but the focus the last week or two and the next 3 or 4 is really on boosters. And again, as has been discussed numerous times, there are lots of places to get first and second doses. I think there's lots of places to get boosters as well. We're just one of those many places. But what I referenced earlier were numbers of booster clinics that they've scheduled.
Okay, so as far as we understand, there's not a huge demand for more first-time vaccinations.
I know if you look at the number of fully vaccinated county population, it's been at 62% for weeks.
Okay.
And so it seems like the people who want to get vaccinated have been vaccinated. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't others out there being vaccinated,
Okay.
but the numbers haven't gone up in at least a few weeks. So it seems like that demand is not there. And back in September, when the resolution was passed, limiting us to the health department offices, as I shared last week, that was no big deal because nobody was getting vaccinated at that point. We had walk-in availability and we'd have a handful here or there. And so the reason that this is brought forward is because the demand has changed. And that's, again, why would like the flexibility to explore a different room.
Can you talk about the funding that we gave was for nurses or people to give these, to have them available. Could you talk a little bit about the availability of people to give the boosters, or how are we doing with the hiring? Are we at an acceptable level so far as you know?
We're at a good enough level to be able to do clinics with multiple vaccinators as we had, sorry, on Saturday. The health department was able to add, I think, 3 part-timers the week before last. We have had a couple resignations in the department recently, so there are jobs posted right now. And we don't have a full staff by any stretch of the imagination. Do we have enough to do these clinics? Yes. Would it be better for us to consolidate these into less frequent, larger clinics and to have, 10 over the next 3 weeks? That would be helpful for staff. But again, we're trying to adapt to the situation that we have at the moment.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Anybody else? I have a little bit off, well, still talking about vaccination and whatnot, or pandemic. One of the call of the public citizens had mentioned the, the uses for the vaccine, the monoclonal antibodies and come to mind, and alternative. Can we get a report from the health department? It doesn't have to be tonight if you don't, but it would give us a regular update on what kind of progress we're making on those.
Yeah, and I will comment, the health department, EMS, and St. Joe's Livingston are working to establish a monoclonal antibody infusion center in the county. It doesn't happen overnight. We don't have access to the antibodies. We have to secure them and get them. But agreements are being worked out right now. It's possible as soon as the end of this week, we might have something to announce on that. We're hopeful. So that is being attended to. And I'll certainly report back to you on that and anything else that is relevant to that question.
Okay, thank you. I think we're ready for a vote. With 2 commissioners participating by Zoom, I'm going to ask for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Helserman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreck,
No.
Commissioner Zajac,
Yes.
Commissioner Griffith,
Yes.
Commissioner Gross,
Yes.
Commissioner Plank,
No.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Reader,
Yes.
Commissioner Nakagiri.
No,
Motion carries.
thank you. Thank you, Administrator Byrd. We're at item number 13 on our agenda. That's our second call to the public. Anybody in the room here wishing to address the board? I don't see anybody. We'll go to Zoom. Did you wish to?
All I want is for Alderman to unlock me.
Item. So we'll go to Zoom. First person is, I can't read that, but let health expert. If you would state your full name and township or city, you'll have 3 minutes.
Haley Anderson Howell. I did make a phone call earlier this afternoon with regard to the Chilton Hills vaccine. I don't know what we're calling it, clinic, whatever. Anyway, I got both of my vaccinations there, and I just implore you guys to not do anything that stands in the way of letting the health department do whatever it is they need to do to get vaccines to the people that want them. Yes, you can go to Rite Aid, CVS, whatever, but there's people like me where Chilton Hills was where I went for 1 and 2, and it was great. It moved quickly. The people were nice. The setup was great. It was just a good experience. And to get the booster, I would love to be able to go back there instead of having to find somewhere else. I'm really upset with this board because you guys seemed to like making choices for the community at large, with no medical expertise of your own. And it appears that you guys listen more to another side of the issues that also don't have any medical expertise. And it's really disheartening. It really makes me not want to be in this community anymore at all. My kids aren't in public school, thank God. And if that had to be an option, I would go outside the district. I would go outside the county. So I really just ask you to let the health department do whatever it is they need to do and get out of their way. If you're not helping, get out of the way. It's that simple.
Thank you. Next up is Jennifer. Jennifer, if you would state your full name and city or township, you'll have 3 minutes.
Yes, commissioners. Jennifer Cross, Howell Township. Thank you to the commissioners who voted with logic and reason tonight, and voted for the community at large, like the last caller talked about, because that's the right thing to do. I'm very confused on why anyone would choose to vote no on this. And I would actually, I'm not trying to address you directly, but for the commissioners that voted no, what is your reasoning behind that? That is a direct statement to the people in this community that you want to make it difficult for them to get vaccines, and that's disheartening. Again, thank you to the commissioners who voted yes. And I guess we will continue to see what these meetings will bring. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Sherry LaRue. If you state your full name and township, you'll have 3 minutes.
Hi, Sherry LaRue, Greeno Township. I'm disappointed in this evening's vote. Again, pandering to the fearful and ignoring those of us that refuse to live in fear. And I still want to take you back to September 27th, when this resolution was created before my very eyes. And I want to bring to your attention that the next further be resolved is that we keep all of the employees at the health department that were hired as temporary employees. And it was so important that the reading of their names commenced as if they had died in 9/11 or in an overseas war. Again, stunned. I wasn't sure what to do with that. Instead, I'd like to see you read the names of healthy children that are being discriminated against if they're vaccinated or not vaccinated. Healthy children that are excluded from school and in education and extracurricular activities. Read those names. We'll be here all night if you'd like to do that. And in the end, I say to you, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this age, and against spiritual hosts of wickedness. And I know that, and I will keep fighting. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and close our second call to the public and looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Zajac.
Support, Helserman.
Motion by Commissioner Zajac, support by Commissioner Helserman. All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? We're adjourned.